Hello and welcome to Recharge Your Power Management Solution with Vertiv, presented by Vertiv. I'm your host, Ed Hannon, and my guests today are Pete Klanian, VP of Channel Sales with Vertiv, Joe Scarsi, Director of Product Management with Vertiv, and Allison Webb, Director of America's Marketing with Vertiv. And I'd like to thank Pete and Joe and Allison for being here, but just we're going to get started right away here. I don't want to waste any time. We're just going to jump right into it. Again, we're talking about recharging your power management solution with Vertiv. First question is going to go to Joe. Joe, today's market's really just dominated by VRLA batteries. What are some of the shortcomings from your vantage point around them?
Yeah, thanks, Ed. The UPS market has always used valve-regulated lead-acid batteries. They have been the go-to source of stored energy for decades. And that's not because lead-acid batteries are a great solution. It's because they've been the only viable solution over the years. Other types of batteries just haven't met the performance and cost requirements of the UPS industry. But the truth is, IT managers really don't like lead-acid batteries. They have a number of drawbacks, and the criticism we hear most often is their short life. They are good for only a few hundred charge-discharge cycles, and they need to be replaced every few years. So this is a major pain point for customers. IT managers face a battery replacement cycle with their lead-acid batteries. Another drawback of lead-acid batteries is their size and weight. They are heavy, they're hard to move, they're hard to install in a rack, they take up a lot of space, and sometimes you need multiple people to install them. And one additional shortcoming that I'll mention for lead-acid batteries is their temperature sensitivity. Lead-acid batteries don't like warm temperatures. And the rule of thumb is that for every 15 degrees C rise in ambient temperature, the useful life of the lead-acid battery gets cut in half. So in environments like computer rooms and closets and back offices and other edge locations, you quite often don't have cooling. So the ambient temperature could reach 35 to 40 C rather than 25 C, which is where lead-acid batteries like to be operated. So the result is that lead-acid batteries might need to be replaced even sooner than 3 to 4 years, maybe 1 to 2 years. So as you can see, there's a number of significant drawbacks to lead-acid batteries.
I'm a tech guy, I really am, but with the batteries thing, like I can't believe with all the features that keep getting put into technology, that it's still, batteries are still a real thing. It just blows my mind, and we're gonna have a lot of fun talking about it today. There's a lot, Joe. Also, this next one's for you. There's a lot of hype around lithium ion, but what makes that technology different from the traditional VRLA equipment?
Yeah, you're right, Ed. I mean, there is a lot of hype around lithium-ion batteries these days, but the hype is justified. As the cost of lithium ion has come down dramatically over the last 5 to 10 years, it's become the lead acid alternative that the market's been looking for decades. And it has some wonderful attributes that enable it to overcome all those shortcomings of lead acid batteries that I just mentioned. So first, lithium ion batteries last much longer than lead acid batteries. They have a 2x to 3x longer life. And the real benefit for customers is that they don't have continual battery replacements. Over a typical 8 to 10 year life, customers might never have to replace the lithium ion battery. The battery could last as long as the UPS electronics. And this is what makes lithium ion UPSs a true, we'll call it set it and forget it type UPS. An IT manager can just put them out there at those edge sites and not have to think about it. And the real kicker is that you get a full 5-year warranty on the lithium-ion battery as well, whereas today with lead-acid batteries, you typically get a 2 to 3 year warranty. And then some of the other advantages of lithium-ion batteries include much faster recharge time. They're significantly smaller and lighter, so you typically see a 40 to 70% size and weight reduction. And they're much better at performing in elevated temperatures. So in those warm edge locations, you won't get the degradation in the life of the battery. And then, of course, you have environmental benefits. Lithium-ion batteries are considered to be much greener than lead acid. So first, they don't have those hazardous materials like lead that you have to deal with. They last 2 to 3 times longer than lead acid, so you need fewer of them. And they require less energy to keep them charged. So the environmental benefits are pretty significant.
This one, Joe, next one's for you. We're also going to bring Pete in on this one as well. What are some of the markets that are converting to the lithium-ion UPS technology today? And where do you see all of this heading in the next 1 to 3 years?
Yeah. Lithium-ion UPSs are really ideal for applications where there's large deployments of distributed UPSs and where the costs and hassle of battery replacements is quite high. So I've seen a lot of interest in lithium UPSs from a pretty broad range of verticals, from education, medical, industrial, retail. And where I see this going over the next 1 to 3 years is just increased adoption over time. And I think that adoption rate is going to accelerate.
Yeah, I would echo that, Joe. We're seeing a lot of interest. I think one vertical where we've seen the most is retail. So, any place that has a lot of remote locations where it may be relatively expensive to do a truck roll, just to do a simple battery replacement, but you may not have the expertise on site to just swap out that battery every few years. You want to avoid that. The TCO and the payback on the lithium ion is going to be very good for those types of vertical markets. Yeah.
Excellent. And then this next question, Joe, I'm going to pivot back to you for this one. How quickly do you think lithium ion will grow in the single phase UPS market?
Yeah, I think that growth rate or that adoption rate is really going to vary by market segment. So if you're looking at the low end of the single phase UPS market, we're talking like desktop UPSs. Customers really have gotten accustomed to paying $50 to $100 for the UPS. And I think the adoption rate there will be a little bit slower. But in the rest of the single phase UPS market, when we're talking about server and networking power protection, which is the bulk of the market, that's $1 billion market in North America. I personally would be shocked if at least 25% of that market didn't convert to lithium ion in the next 3 to 5 years. I'd say 30 to 40% adoption is probably more likely. So there is really going to be a major conversion from VRLA over to lithium ion in the next few years. The value proposition of lithium is just too strong for that not to happen. And the market is already saying that Vertiv is leading the way with great products and aggressive pricing.
I'd have to think too, just to follow up on that, Joe, I'm going to leave you open on this one as well. I'd have to think you were talking about, before, about the VRLA batteries being like a 2-year life, so 2-year warranty versus a 5-year warranty with lithium ion. Even if there's a cost difference, if you're replacing something every 2 to 3 years versus every 5 years, it isn't the cost of the 5-year thing sort of amortized over time, whereas you're constantly flipping every 2 to 3 years. Am I way off base in thinking that? Or?
No, absolutely right. You have to pay a little bit more to get the lithium ion technology. And Vertiv really has crushed that price premium that you have to pay. But when you do a total cost of ownership calculation, as soon as you avoid that first battery replacement of the VRLA battery, the TCO advantage quickly shifts in favor of the lithium ion solution. And then when you look over a 10-year period and you can avoid 2 or 3 battery replacements, it's a no-brainer. Lithium wins in a big way.
Excellent. Great job. Joe, take a break for a minute. We're going to tag Allison in here. She's been waiting patiently, so we're going to bring Allison in here. Allison, we'll start with you and then we'll go to Pete. Allison, what is it that prevents customers from implementing lithium-ion UPS equipment?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it's something that we obviously have been thinking about a lot as we expand our range in this particular product line. I think when we consider the immediate environment that we find ourselves in, many IT and facilities departments are trying to overcome a couple of competing priorities. They need to build out really reliable edge infrastructure to support more distributed workforces. But at the same time, they're being asked to bring down costs. And so, the pressures with those competing priorities is very real for these departments and for these managers. But we believe that there's actually really a kind of a bona fide opportunity at the intersection of those two priorities. And a lot of the conversation that we've been having, I was talking to a colleague this week, and kind of a premise rings true here that what we want to help our resellers do is, help customers not make long-term decisions off of short-term circumstances. So while yes, there's pressures around cost, what we've done is looked at how do we make lithium ion as affordable and as cost-friendly as possible, so that we're removing that initial barrier to entry for resellers who might want to spec a lithium ion solution, but are afraid that might spook the customer because it might increase the total cost of the bid, for example. So I think we can work with our partners to help their customers navigate this sort of conundrum by speccing solutions that remove that immediate cost barrier, because we can offer it at, a competitive, we can get them into a lithium-ion solution, sort of at par with the VRLA solution. And so they get the same upfront cost, but to Joe's point, that long-term benefit of total cost of ownership. So it really becomes kind of a win-win-win for all of us, let's be honest. And then, the second thing that might cause a little bit of hesitation is just whenever there's a new technology, there's risk with that. And so IT departments don't want to embed risk into distributed IT infrastructure that's going to be, potentially costly to have to access, to Pete's point about rolling a truck. So, what we want to work with partners on is that customers should be working with trusted brands, and brands that have been in this space for a really long time and are kind of long in the tooth on power management. So they can, by leveraging the power of strong brands and power, they can help their customers sort of navigate and bring them along that technology journey in a really kind of low risk way. So, the cost and quality is something that we don't have to have a trade-off anymore. And I think that's really exciting for partners.
Pete, you want to jump in on that as well? I know you had some thoughts that you wanted to share.
Yeah, we've grown up really protecting the largest, most complex data centers in the world. And when you come from that sort of a background, right, when you have to be the go-to to make sure those data centers are up and running, you become very risk averse, right? So one of the tenets of what we built into the lithium-ion UPS in the more distributed part of the network is that we have built a highly reliable, highly secure product. Otherwise, we would not have brought it out. So we feel very confident in this technology. The battery technology is now tried and true. Think about your cell phone. I don't know anyone that's putting AA Duracell batteries in their cell phone, right? This is a reliable, trusted technology. So bringing this now to the UPS and allowing it to provide a much longer lifetime and better TCO, not only for our customers, but for our partners to recommend to their customers, right? We think it's an important innovation in our boring little world of batteries in a box.
There's no such thing as a boring world of batteries in a box. But I want to pivot to the next section here, and it's going to stay with you, Pete, for a minute. How is Vertiv helping drive adoption of the lithium-ion technology?
Well, we think education with any innovation in the industry is part and parcel of making it work. So we are driving education to our partners. We want that education going to the customers. It's one of those things where if the customer can give us an extra minute to explain the benefits of lithium-ion over the traditional technology, we think that message will really resonate. And so for us to train the partners just to take that extra step, we think is critical to this. So we have training, we have information on our partner portal, and we'll continue to message that very strongly. We're also working with Allison and team to drive this message to IT decision makers. So all of that work is not only on the plates of our partners.
Yeah, you got to leverage the marketing folks to get all that great technology out into the eyes and ears of the people who are going to end up hopefully adopting and using it. I'm going to pivot back to Allison for a second, and then Joe on this next one. You guys actually just received a Tech Innovator Finalist Award from CRN for this product. What do you attribute that to, and what was your sort of take on the feedback that you received, as part of getting that award?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we were honored for sure to be able to receive an award and a commendation like that. For us, innovation is sort of part and parcel within our DNA and who Vertiv is as a company. And so to be able to match innovation with sort of what our core competencies are around power, I think it's just a real testament that we're on the right journey. And a lot of that feedback was, received directly from partners and customers. And so we've been able to be very collaborative with the market to drive innovation. And I think we'll just probably continue to see that grow. I know right down from our chairman in Dave Cody down to Rob Johnson, there is a lot of emphasis on innovation and a lot of investment in innovation, particularly on the offering side. And I'm sure Joe can probably talk more about kind of what's happening behind the scenes in his world, but I think that's just a real nice tip of the hat to what we've been able to accomplish in a relatively short period of time in terms of this particular technology platform.
Joe, any additional thoughts you want to share about that whole experience?
Yeah, just to chime in, I mean, I agree with Allison. That award really underscores the emphasis that Vertiv is placing on innovation, as well as our commitment to lithium-ion UPSs. So as I said, there's a massive market shift underway, and Vertiv is at the forefront of that shift. And we have an extensive lithium-ion product roadmap, and our customers and partners should expect to continue seeing Vertiv bring award-winning products like the PSI-5 lithium to market.
Excellent, excellent. I'm going to swing back to Pete for this one. Pete, with all this new technology that that we're talking about today, it's great. Obviously, it's great technology, but is this really the kind of technology that can only be sort of adopted by customers who have big budgets?
So the answer is no. There are a lot of benefits beyond what we've talked about already about lithium ion. One of them I really want to hit on is it's far more eco-friendly than VRLA batteries. So customers who care not only about the technology and the TCO, but about being eco-sensitive, those customers will see the value of this. And maybe even in a scenario where it's a little bit more upfront, we know that with that battery replacement scenario Joe spoke about, the TCO is going to be better. Equally, if not more important, is the impact on the environment. VRLA batteries, as you know, are made with sealed lead acid. Yes, they are highly recycled. Lithium ion contains no toxic substances and are also recyclable. So there's a benefit there. The other thing that you'll find there is that truck rolls, right? When we're shipping this gear around the world out of our factories, the weight of the battery is a major factor in fuel use and impact on the environment. Much lighter batteries, much smaller footprint also adds to that message. So not only do you get some TCO benefits for customers, hefty budget or not, you have environmental factors that you should weigh in.
Excellent. And stay with me for this next one. You were talking about sort of how to handle some of the different batteries in terms of disposing and things like that. One of the biggest struggles out there is how you dispose of aging VRLA UPS systems. How does Vertiv help with that?
So first, we have a trade-in program, and we are a global recycler of any batteries, whether it was our equipment or a competitor's. And we offer, as part of that program, an upfront discount. So we're happy to take back your old technology and replace it with this great new technology and take the recycling and environmental issues off your plate.
Excellent. And then Joe, you want to chime in on that as well? How you Vertiv sort of helps with that?
Yeah, I mean, Vertiv has a range of recycling partners, and we offer services that include UPS recycling. And that includes not just the battery, but also the electronics. So when that UPS reaches its end of life, we want to get it out of circulation. We want to recycle all components of the UPS. And that we'll be doing that. We do it today for VRLA UPSs, and in the future going forward, we'll be doing that for lithium UPSs as well.
Excellent. That's great. That's a great service. Pete, I'm going to come back to you for this one. Are your partners' customers going to have to get on a waiting list or wait months, for implementation of all this?
Good news. No, another short answer. All of these solutions are skewed up and ready to go at all of our major distributors. We would encourage partners, when a customer asks them for a UPS, again, just take that extra couple of seconds to talk about lithium ion, the benefits they have, and be confident that they can call a local distributor, wherever it may be, and know that those products are available for them to offer. So give us a shot, give us a chance to quote alongside VRLA older technology, the lithium ion technology, and let's let the customer make the right choice.
Excellent, excellent. And Allison, I'm going to hand the keys to you for this last question. You get to drive this one home. When this is over, people say goodbye to our program when they're done watching and listening to it. Why would partners, why should they and why would they choose, put Vertiv, first on their list?
Yeah, so I think the team's covered a lot of the major points, but at the end of the day, what we've been striving to do is to make it really easy and low risk to make the leap into lithium ion. So we have, everyday competitive pricing on the products. Right now we're actually running a really aggressive promotion as well on lithium ion. So until the end of the year, there's added benefits. We talked a lot about total cost of ownership. So we've got a TCO, or a total cost of ownership calculator, that's available. So partners can use this tool and send it to their customers as well. So again, within a couple of clicks, they can really understand what that picture is. We've got the trade-in program that Pete just spoke to. So all of those in terms of the lithium perspective really brings down the risk associated with making that leap. And then just from an everyday partnership perspective, we've got a really competitive program. So, it would be not a marketing person if I didn't put a plug in for our partner program, but Pete's put a lot of work in this year around our deal registration program specifically. We've brought down the minimums. We've made the process of registering deals a lot faster and easier. We have really high approval rates. So, Vertiv should really be your first choice in terms of coming to us first for these solutions for all of those reasons. We're investing a lot in doing more marketing to our IT decision makers and our facilities managers directly to help drive that demand to our partners. And so we've got the push, we've got the pull coverage, we're investing in sales. I think we're just really in a sweet spot right now where Vertiv's really found its stride in terms of working with our partners, bringing the technology to market, all in a really synchronized way. So we'd love for more partners to join us. And if there's anyone out there that's interested in learning more about our partnerships, you can certainly reach out to anyone on this call. But partners.vertiv.com will also be a great resource for you just to learn a little bit more on your own.
Excellent. So remember, folks, partners.vertiv.com. You heard it right from Allison's mouth. So we'll get that out to everybody here. And I want to thank Pete, Joe, and Allison for being here today. And I want to let everyone know, unfortunately, we're out of time. This has been a great discussion, and I thank the three of them for joining me today. And once again, thank you all for watching. Again, thanks to Pete, Joe, and Allison for joining me. Once again, my name is Ed Hannon, and you've been watching Recharge Your Power Management Solution with Vertiv, presented by Vertiv.